Hello, and welcome to another episode of Coffee with Dari. We are continuing on with talking to my women executives and my women in the C suite. And today I'm going to talk about three personal branding mistakes that women in the C suite make and how to fix them. All right, just to recap. Don't hear personal brand and hear influencer. We are thought leaders, but we are putting our thoughts out there so that we can advance our careers, really solidify ourselves in our industries, and become influential and impactful within our industries. So, what are three personal branding mistakes I see women in the C suite make? Number one, I know that when you work at a company, there might be a little red tape. So I feel that women almost play it too safe. They want to blend in, and we need to stand out a little bit. So I know that you might be scared of making a mistake, saying the wrong thing. Um, and there are ways to foolproof that or minimize the chances of that happening. But I don't want that to stop you from saying what you want to say because I know that if you're watching this, you are a woman who has something to say and you always have. And you probably have a unique way of being a leader and a unique way of doing things. Maybe you're really good at talking to people, getting the best work out of people. And that's all things we need to talk about. So, in order to stand out without standing out too much, we need to really get clear on your unique value proposition or what makes you special, what sets you apart. What is your distinct leadership style? What are your insights? What are your thoughts? What is your point of view of your industry? What is your point of view on your career path and how you've gotten where you are and how someone else can also follow in those steps or see success? Um, Really, really getting clear on that and also getting clear on where you want to go because I like to work backwards. So I always set goals for my clients and then we figure out the rest from there. We work backwards from there. So where do you want to go in your industry? What does your career path look like ideally? Does it always work out that way? No, but that's okay. That's not something we're going to think about right now. What has brought you to where you are now? Where have those successes been? Figuring out what that is and how to express it is going to help you blend in instead of standing out. And I promise that you will probably not say the wrong thing. So let's not even think about that because I know you care. You are going to pay attention. You are not going to put things out that are ridiculous, right? We're not going to be dancing unless that's you, unless that's really what you're into, that's fine. But we're not going to do things that feel out of place. We're just going to refine what we're saying. Okay. The next mistake that the next personal branding mistake that I see women in the C suite make um, is prioritizing company over the personal brand. So when I start working with women leaders, women executives, it's very or what I tend to see is that it's very company focused. I went to this conference and I had a great time. Um, want to talk about this great thing that my organization's doing. But you tend to put your own personal journey, your lessons, and your leadership philosophies on the back burner. And I think that's tied into that fear that I mentioned earlier is the fear to say the wrong thing or the fear to put out something that might be too personal, or you think people don't care about that journey that got you to where you need to be or where you are. They care. And I think that's part of what makes you stand out. It's part of your leadership. It's part of what makes you different and special. It's a part of why you're good at what you do. So don't discredit your personal journey and don't forget about yourself when you are speaking about your accomplishments. That sounds kind of weird to say, but you going to a conference, for example, that's a great post, right? Because we are letting people know what we're doing, letting people know we're out there. Maybe you can tag a few friends that you met up with. But what else? What did you walk away with? What was your take and your view on that event? I think that's the lens that you need to look for to you need to look through it. I cannot speak this morning. Um, but you have to put it through your own personal brand lens and not just here's a win for my company, right? So don't forget about yourself when you are putting yourself out there. It feels safe to kind of, and I don't want to call it hide behind because that's not exactly what we're doing, but it's a little bit of what we're doing. Again, it's that fear of showing up in the wrong way. And you care. I know you care a lot, so you're not going to show up in the wrong way. Um, but we're like, hey, look, I went to this thing. But then we're afraid to kind of put go more in depth into our actual thoughts about what was happening, which is fine. Again, saying where you went, the company did this, the great thing, we had this, amazing quarter, that's all good. But how do you take that a step further? How do you let people get to know you a little bit more so that they really get to know who you are and you can build that trust factor and make things a little bit more interesting? So don't just prioritize what the company's doing, the company brand, pay attention to your personal brand and how what your thoughts are as well. And lastly, the third mistake that I see women in the C-suite make and women executives make when it comes to their personal brand is an inconsistent presence. And now I know that I said earlier or in my past video that you don't need to show up every single day. And that is true. You do not need to show up every single day, but don't post once and then disappear for 3 months. There should be some sort of consistency. There should be some sort of plan. So figuring out how you like to show up and what makes that easy for you is really important to keep up the consistency. Excuse me. And we all go through, and it's happened to me, it happens to everybody. We might go through periods of burnout. So the key thing is figuring out what is the easiest way for you to show up so that you are not inconsistent. Because if you're not consistent, you're not top of mind. And the way these social media networks function is consistency gets rewarded. So again, don't need you to show up every single day, every single day, but you do need to show up consistently. So pick maybe you start off once a week. That's fine. I want you to get into the habit of showing up. And then once you have a content bank filled up, then we can, start repurposing content and then fill in those gaps. So there are ways to fix that inconsistency problem, but please try to show up in a consistent manner so that you really do build that audience. And over time, things just kind of build on themselves. So, to recap, the three mistakes that women in the C suite make, women executives make when it comes to their personal brand is blending in instead of standing out. So, not being clear on what your uniqueness, what you makes you special is, and not putting it out there. Prioritizing your brand company over your personal brand. So remember, let's think about what our personal journey is, not just the company wins, and share those as well. And being inconsistent. So find a way that helps you show up at least once a week. Start there and then go up from there. I hope that was helpful, and I'll catch you on the next Coffee with Dari.